Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another meta breakdown report. Today, we're going to go through the Michigan regionals that happened, I want to say 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago would be June 30th. I was thankful enough to cast this event with Once in Love. If you want, I'm going to set that video down below. You can watch the VOD over at True Champion Gaming's YouTube channel, as they were technically the host of this regional event. But without being said, let's go ahead and dive a little bit more into the information here. We have 48 players being registered into the event, and the breakdown are as such. We had 16 fire decks, 15 wind decks, 12 normal decks, and 5 water decks, with a couple different breakdowns of champions across the board. I know this time I don't have a fancy graphic. I do apologize ahead of time for this one, but time got away from me. So most broad deck this event was normal Sylvie, which is pretty much Sylvie slime. Sylvie with slime spirit. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. We're doing good so far today. You show how prepared I am. So we have next followed by 6 Fire Merlin. We had 6 Miracle Bots, which is otherwise known as Wind Lorraine Robots, followed by a couple other decks that sort of trickle in. We had about 5 Wind Tristan. We had 2 Water Nikos, 2 Water Dianas, and then we had 2 Fire Sylvie. Technically, 1 Fire Sylvie, 1 turned into a Fire Allen list, but it is not erupting, just so you know. 2 Fire Rise, 1 Wind Rye, 1 Ferrari Lorraine, 1 Wind Tristan, 1 Water Tristan, 1 Wind Sylvie, 1 Fire Ari, 1 Fire Diana. Then we had 1 Wind Crux, 2 Water Nikos, and 1 Erupting and 1 in Soul. I know, a lot to break down. But don't worry, we're going to go over to the top 8 here in a second and go over what ended up winning, what ended up getting into top 8 and getting that regional invite for the season. But before I get into that, everyone, just so you know, in the description below, and as you see sort of now on the screen, I run a sort of a merch company as well as a clothing company, and I'm starting to design Grand Archive products. So if you want to check that out, make sure you check out the link below. I'm going to be doing a drop on next week, which is going to be July 13th. I'm going to be dropping it on the website below, where you can get shirts, t-shirts, sleeves, stickers, all this upcoming Lorraine art. But with that being said, let's go ahead and go right into the decks. Coming in first, we have Matt. Matt, once again, bringing his Wind Robot list, securing first place at the Michigan Regionals. This is a very interesting list that I have been informed is called Miracle Bots, because it's a miracle that these robots do what they do. That's the description I got from Tyler. Don't shoot the messenger on this one, folks. So what this list is that we have Spirit of Wind, Gwen, or Spirit of Wind, Lorraine, and that's all we do. We have backup chargers to get a battery power, so we have Argus, we can go ahead and get True Sight, Crusader and Draw, Ornament Great Sword Guard and buff a unit, as well as Poison Coating Oil. They buff something like Shimmercook Assassin. You have 1 Safeguard Ant, 1 Smoke Bombs, 1 Sword of Seeking, 1 Terrafing, and 1 Rain Resonance Bauble for the mirror. And the main list are as followed. You have 1 Charge Mannequin, 4 Lurking Assailants, 4 Manufactured Cells, 4 Andronica, 4 Armor Valkyrie, 4 Eternal Magistrate, 4 Fairy Whispers, 3 Fairable Winds, 4 Rally in Advance, 3 Reclaim, 4 Rose, 4 Second Wind, 4 Shimmercook Assassin, 4 Stifling Jet, 4 Wind Rider Vanguard, and 2 Zephyrs. And the reason why this list is sort of working is that you have cards like Rose that give you cards to like coming at fast speed if you needed to. You have Shimmercook Assassin going and gets big. Eternal Magic gets the time going and gets big. And you have Andronica going and buff the board. So the way this works is that you go ahead and buff one of your robots with your Power Star tokens, and then you untap it with swords like Second Wind. You go ahead and get the attack in, and then you untap it with Second Wind and get extra +1 attack. And then without go ahead and get in for more damage. Then you attack again. Then you have cards like Rally Vans to get attack a 3rd time. So you get this really big unit. It gets to swing in for 5, 10, 15 damage in 1 single turn. And this will race it down. It's pretty much like a quicker erupting. If you watch the regional video that I ended up casting, we ended up having this deck win on Materialization 2. So let's go ahead. You had 1 turn where they get Spirit Wind, another turn where they did Backup Charger, a turn where they go ahead and materialize Lorraine, and then 1 off of that. So basically turn 3. So make sure you check out below if you want to see that interesting video and how this deck works. This deck is really interesting. It's really quick. Expect this deck to pop up a lot. And it's a little bit harder to play than normal Wind Allies. It does have a little bit of intricacies they have to be careful of, especially because you have some units that might be weak to removal, especially if you don't have the favorable ones to go ahead and keep them alive. And you just have to work around sometimes some of those fog decks in between. But this is a very interesting list. Make sure you check it out if you haven't already. Check out the video. And I'm not sure if Chess Club is going to do a video on this one or not. I'll keep an eye out. I'll post the comment below if they end up doing a video for breaking down this deck and a deck tech. Congrats again to Matt for getting slot number 1. In the second place, we had Steve. I don't know what Steve this is. It's just a Steve. All right. We have so many Steves in Grand Archive. I've lost track of Omnidex IDs. But Steve ended up getting second place with Water Nico. So Water Nico is a list that most people are a little iffy. It is one of those tier 2 lists that we talked about before. But this is a very interesting take. So we have the normal Nico, we have Backup Charger, we have Bulwark Sword, we have Grand Crusader Ring, Smoke Bombs, Tide Proc, Mage Blade, Scepter, Tide Holder, Claymore, and Vapor Jet. So to get those units, go to pay it out to get the floating memory out of your grave and get lash counters on the Nico. Excuse me. But in the main, we end up having 1 Turbocharge, 1 Cell Sharpshooter, 3 Cerulean Decree, 4 Diffuse the Block, 4 Fractal Rain, 4 Fracturize, 4 Freezing Steel, which is really interesting. Because it doesn't make Power Cells come in tapped or anything that is an item. It does end up coming in tapped for the turn. And it does have floating memory and not a class bonus. 4 Frostborn Paladin, pretty much standard, 4 Icebound Slam, 4 Lost in Thought, 3 Lunette, 4 Ravishing Finale, 4 Refracting Missile, 3 Revitalizing Cleanse, 4 Storm of Thorns, 3 Tidal Sweep, 4 Vapor Jet Shield Bearer, and 2 Wave Rider Protector. So if you notice, this is pretty much all Water's list. So you got to release the Serene Spirit of Water. You don't have to worry about getting down into those nitty gritty of normal cards or water cards being dead because you also have Water Nico. And the way sort of this list works is that you go ahead and mill yourself Refractor Rain, a couple other cards, and you try and get in with early Icebound Slam. So Icebound Slam let you go ahead, swing in for about 8 damage on the attack, and mill the top 5 cards of your into your deck into your graveyard. And that usually ends up getting Floating Memory, which you could then use to get into Neris and Nico out and pay out your units a little bit more and do it as much as possible. And you're really just trying to utilize cards like Cerulean Decree, keep up value, as well as Frostborn Paladin, going to get some extra chip damage in, and just try and control the board as much as possible with cards like Lunette, Refracting Missile, Vital cards are going to heal some health. You have Fracturizes, you have Diffuse the Block to keep yourself alive, as well as Storm of Thorns. Doesn't have to get Floating Memory in there to finalize the entire game plan, and swing with a very devastating Ravishing Finale. And the way it's worked to get around Taunters is because you have cards like Smoke Bomb to go ahead and get around those couple different interactions. This deck runs a Vapor Jet Shield Bearer, which is on hit, go ahead and mill a card with Steadfast. And then you have Wave Rider Protector, who goes to get you an extra Taunter on the turn, and then also has class bonus Floating Memory to sort of go towards that Ravishing Finale finisher. This one does run Lunette. Lunette's mostly in there for the Wind Allies list or anything that's a sort of aggro. Keeps those allies coming in tapped for a turn and gives you an extra turn overall. So you try and clean up the board easy, quick, peasy. And then you have a couple different interesting texts in here as well. You run also Tidal Sweep. Tidal Sweep is a card that goes and gets in for a cleave, and then with that cleave, you know, that isn't the class bonus Floating Memory. You need to go to get the Nico trigger because you get the on-champion hit ability. In the sideboard, you have the Terrafang for the Allies matchup, so 2 Heavy Swing if you need to get in another way to attack, 2 Incapacitates to play a little bit more of the control matchup, 3 Resolute Sands, again, for dealing with those cheap allies to try and get those turns so you can win. 1 more Turbocharge, you have all the Power Cells, so go ahead and draw some extra cards. 2 Cell Sharpshooter, which go ahead and get you mill a card with Floating Memory, or banish a card with Floating Memory, I should say. Get a Power Cell token, and this all allows you to draw. And then you get to go ahead to get Frostbite as well to play that more of the control matchup. Go ahead to Steve of one of our 2 Nico players that were in the event and then ended up top 8 as well. So Nico was 100% conversion rate into the top 8. And in deck number 3, we had Taiguy. Shoutouts to Always Be Gaming Taiguy. This is not sponsored by me. These are people who I've known back in the day since Legend of Runeterra. Taiguy's part of a team I used to have a quote-unquote rivalry with my group of Noximus. Congratulations, Taiguy. I'm glad to see ABG starting to get into this game. I'm glad you're here. I hope you end up enjoying the way to go. But this is the Win Tristan build. So this is Win Tristan going into the both levels here. You have Assassin's Ripper, you have Windwalker Boots, and Shadow's Claw, and that running the mantle. 4 Dungeon Guides, 2 Incapacitates, 4 Mastermind Scheme, 4 Sable, 4 Sadie, 2 Slice and Dice in there early for the aggro a little bit, getting that low pressure and damage with Slice and Dice. 1 Disorienting Winds, 4 Quasi Outlooks, 3 Ensnaring Fumes, 4 Fairy Whispers, 2 Innovative Agility, 4 Reclaim, 4 Stifles, and 4 Shadow Strike, Veiling Breeze, and Windmill Engineer, and 1 extra Umber Sight going to get an extra card draw. In the separate, you have 2 Incapacitates, 3 Reprograms, 3 Arrow Trap, 3 Cleansing Union, 1 Innovative Agility, and 3 Sirocco Operatives. So this was the list he ended up borrowing from a buddy. So I'm not exactly sure if his buddy down cards. I'm not exactly sure the story behind of the sort of the build. I imagine it's mostly copied from True Champion Gaming's build and then brought into here, with the addition of the card like Slice Dice in the main versus the sideboard, which I end up really liking, which is going to give probably a little bit of pressure early on and not having to rely on something like Shadow Strike to go ahead and finish out the game. You have 2 Incapacitates on the side here. They're going to bring them in if you need more control matchup. 3 B programs, 3 Arrow Traps to deal with cards like Majestic Spirit. 3 Cleansing to deal with Erupting or Fire Lorraine. 1 Innovative, and like I said, the Sirocco Operative is probably brought in to play a little more Automaton and get more preparation counters early on if you need it. Again, congratulations to Taiguy. Congratulations to get in 3rd place. Glad to see you in the game, buddy. Hope I see more of you in future events. And in deck number 4, we have Spirit of Wind Lorraine. So we have Crux Lorraine coming back out, running the 2 Seafaring Mercenaries. Going to have those in there, so you're going to get the card draw off your triggers. And pretty much the way this deck works is that you try to control the board state And then you go ahead and get stuff like Ghost of Pendragon out and Spirit Blade Ascension to then pull out Prismatic Edge and start banishing cards out of your opponent's memory, and then getting a whole bunch of value of just drawing cards and outpacing your opponents and controlling the board. You have Hurricane Sweeps for the ally matchup, going to get Lorraine level 2, and then Hurricane Sweep to clear the board. Every Reclaims and Stifling Trap deal with stuff like Dungeon Guide. You have Veiling Breeze to keep yourself alive on some attacks. You have Decree for the Mirror matchup, Windmill Engineer and Zephyr, Dungeon Guide, and Banner Knight to make a couple of your units big, which in this case sell Vanguard, as well as Ghost of Pendragon gets a buff, and Swift Recruit. This one isn't running the Famous Captain Tactical Sergeant version. And then from there, we would just try and control the board and just start chipping damage to win overall. We saw this list on stream as well, so if you want to go check that matchup, make sure, like I said before, check out the MRC True Champion video from the regional. And I think it is game number 4, round number 4 we had on stream. So make sure you go ahead and check that out if you want to see this deck in action. On the sideboard, you have 3 Blanche, more likely for the Riot and Fire Merlins, 3 Incapacitates if you need one to control the board with counters, 3 Reprogram, 3 Resolute Stand, 2 Innovative Agility, and 1 Stifling Trap, again, if you're dealing with something that needs to level up quickly with something like Dungeon Guide. Congrats to Mono Water, congrats to taking 4th place. And we'll go on to deck number 5 here, which is Chess Oh no! No, end up tapping 8 with Spirit of Slime Sylvie. So this is Spirit of Slime Sylvie. You have 4 Baby Red, 2 Slime Eruption. You have 4 Gather Slimes, 4 Baby Green Slimes, and 3 Slime Shields. This one is running the Slime King version, but this one is not running Illustrious Slime. Interesting tech, you have Gaia's Somber to go ahead and filter out your cards with some Beast cards if you need it. You have him, Gaia's Grace, which go ahead and put one Beast card and reserve level from your hand into the field. You can cheat some cards out early if you need to, as well as draw a card. You have Verdant Sun to deal with stuff like Regalia or a couple different counters if you want to make a big taunt unit. Pretty much the way these decks win is that you're making a big taunt, so your opponent can't swing into you as you go ahead and combo off with something like Storm Slime. We are running the Twilight Slime in the main to give yourself some Spell Shroud, and as well as we have the Beast Bomb Boots if you need it. This one is not running Ears, mind you, so we cannot swing with stuff like Slime King. This kind of forwards Guy's Blessing, Hornet Beast Calling, Stone Skip Band, and Verdant Scepter, as well as the Quicksilver Grail to more likely fast cheat out Coven of Thorns onto a unit if you need to. And in the sideboard, you have Diana Duststalker, which is really interesting, but I think this is for, which I'm not mistaken. Let me see if it is in. Yes, it is. Dustlight Communion. Dustlight Communion is a card that comes in. If it is an Umbra card, banish. Dustlight Communion gains champions get -1 level, so you need to turn off your opponent's level. It works really well, especially in the mirror if you're trying to de-level your opponent Sylvie, so you don't get the extra level to go ahead and get the Pride. So this is a very unique interaction. Dustlight Communion is a card that is brought in for the mirror, specifically if I'm not mistaken. I'm probably going to be correcting the comments below for other matchups, but mostly this is mostly brought in for the mirror matchup. Yeah, Beast Partner is going to get a +1 level as well, 3 reprograms, and 3 Slime's Blessing as well. Because a lot of these cards end up having Pride 3. In this case, you have Twilight Slime, Ethereal Slime, and Storm Slime all require Pride 3 to start getting attacks with them. So something like Dustlight Communion hitting the field is really huge. But congrats on again, slot number 5, and we're going to move into deck number 6 of Noxus's own Pavone, otherwise known as Bob Sherble. Congrats, Bob. So Bob brought back his old school Spirit of Water Diana. So the way this is a little bit of an ally list for the most part. So you have backed up, you have Dungeon Guides, Steam Knight, Evasive Maneuvers, and Gildas, Lowercase Sounds, Trained Sharpshooter, Trapper, you have Frost and Fountain, Lunette, Snow Fairy, Song of Frost, and Stillwater Patrols. So this is pretty much like go the old school Water Allies list. This is something that Bob ended up running into the ALC meta as a whole. And you added some new cards here. You have Prototype Pistol in here, which is from before. I'm pretty sure we saw a card. He must not have added it, so I can't speak about the tech. This one was in testing, so I cannot speak about it. But we do have Blast Shop. I'm going to go to clear the board. Specialty stuff. We have the allies list as a whole. You have stuff like Wind Robots and Wind Allies, so this becomes sort of a bit of an issue. So Blast Shop Pump helps clear that board with a big swing. Then you have Diana Duststalker to put those Creeping Torments counter on. And Terraforming to help go ahead and deal with a couple different instances as well. And then you have Cascading Round. So then you have stuff like a Steam Knight, Evasive Maneuvers, Gildas, pretty much the normal allies package to go ahead and try and control the board a little bit with Fracturizing and Freezing Hails, trading to your opponent's allies because you have Lunette that make them come in tapped, and then just try and outvalue your opponent by having multiple allies swing in for multiple damage. It's like the Wind Allies list, but instead you're Water, which was really relevant during the early ALC, if not end of FTC meta. Congrats to Bob for getting slot number 6. And then number 7, we had Cosmic. Shoutouts to Cosmic. Really hope you enjoyed your first regionals. I know you recently joined the game. Congrats on topping 8, your first major. I want to say major. I'm pretty sure your first major event in Grand Archive. Sorry if I'm wrong. I completely apologize. But like I said, congrats. You ended up bringing a very spicy Fragmented Spirit of Fire hybrid Merlin. So, Hybrid Merlin is something we talked about before. You have Prismatic Edge as well as Majestic Spirit. You have Crux that goes to Pendragon, Cardinal and Spirit Blade Mastery. Spirit Blade Ascension, not Mastery. Combining decks here. So the way this works is that you go ahead and level up into Merlin or Lorraine, depending on the matchup you're in. If you're facing allies, And while you're going to Lorraine level 2, so then you can Flame Sweep for a big Flame Sweep. And then you're bringing out Prismatic Edge to get the favorite ones and Refracting Missiles triggers, so you're going to get to use all versions of Prismatic Edge. And then you have pre-program in here, again, for the Wind Robots matchup. You have 4 Dungeon Guides, 4 Resolute Stands, 4 Stalwart Shimmies to hold to try and keep up yourself a little bit more alive. Sun Seals, Greater Shot, Cremation Rituals, Fireballs, Flame Sweeps, Hasty Measure, and Flame Rune Swordsman. So congrats Cosmic for this event. I really like seeing Hybrid Merlin come back. In your sideboard here, you have 3 Blanches, 1 Hungry for the Mirror as well as Rise, 3 Exercise Curse to deal with Diana's, 3 Devastating Blows when you're going to get the aggro matchup, 3 Reduce to Ash, and a Safeguard Amulet. But again, congratulations to Cosmic, and congrats on your first event topping. Hope to see more events in the future. And finally, coming at number 8 is Carbonite. So Carbonite was another Nico player. This list is a little bit different than the last one. Carbonite really got into a really interesting situation. Carbonite was 3-0-3 and ended up squeaking in the top 8 because one of the final play-in-ins, there was a couple of 3-2s that had to play, win, and in, ended up tying, which did that Carbonite go ahead and sneak into that 8th slot. So congrats to Carbonite. We got you on stream a couple of times, and I really ended up liking this Nico deck. It's a little bit different because we're not running Lunettes in here, but we are running cards like Frostbite in the main. We have Chilling Touches in the main, more Sharpshooters, and we also run Snow Fairy and Song of Frost in the main as well. So this list is very interesting, a little bit different because you're getting a lot more utilization in more of a control style because you Chilling Touch away your opponent's cards, especially if they're trying to look for leveling up that turn. If they put 2 down instead of prep for the level up, you can Chilling Touch one of them away to deny that level up into the next turn and really disrupt the game plan. Then you have Frostbite to deal a little more control, as well as since you already have 3 Cerulean Decree. Then you have Icebound Slam, Lost in Thought, Ravage Finale, which we talked about before, and Snow Fairy comes in to deal with taunters. You don't have to worry about dealing with something that has taunt. When you get a Snow Fairy, lock it down, then you can get in with your Icebound Slams and Ravaging Finales without having to worry about that taunt unit or smoke bombing it away, especially if your smoke bomb came in and you had something that sort of prevented the whole combo happening to start with. In the sideboard, you have Orbital Regret, Freezing Hails to keep stuff tapped, Frostbind, 3 Powered Defenders, 3 Revitalizing Cleanse, mostly brought up for the list is that you're getting aggro down a little bit and going in heal, and 1 more Song of Frost from One Robots interaction. Congrats again to Carbonite for sneaking in top number 8. This is really interesting list. I'm really happy to see more Nikos come out. Hopefully we'll see more coming into the future here. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video, everyone. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for this meta breakdown. Thank you again to True Champion Gaming for allowing me to cast this event. And I hope to see everyone in the next one. Peace.